I think we can restart, and we can welcome Vice President Věra Jourová that we see here with us.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for being with us today. I will just to help as an opening for your let me say that this morning we discussed the result of the NPM 2022. The results are that the situation in the fundamental protection in Europe are essentially similar to the past, but with some areas of permanent concern, especially about the situation of the journalistic profession and the protection of the profession, both on the safety, both physical and digital, and the economic situation of journalism. In the area of market, we have a situation of confirmation of concentration, very high concentration, both because of the situation of the legacy media that are trying to defend themselves from the disruption by aggregation and mergers, and because of the strong market concentration, strong market power of platforms, dominant platforms that absorb most of the online resources. In the political independence area, we have seen a situation of confirmation of the non-full independence of many PSM, and also a limited ability of the PSM to move toward the digital world by entering with an ability to do public service also in the digital. In the social inclusiveness area, we have seen a situation in which there are still problems, even if there are some improvements for the women representation in the media, and also for community and minorities media that continue to be underrepresented. So generally speaking, all the problems that we had seen in the past are still there. Clearly, there is something positive with respect to 2020, the fact that there has been some economic recovery in Europe, and so the media have had some recovery. But the unfortunate part of this is that certain areas of the media, press, local media, continue to suffer, and in general, the journalistic profession has not benefited of the recovery and has continued to have a difficult time, especially for freelancers, for journalists without protection. To this, one has to add that we have seen a continuous presence of slaps, intimidation, and also an increased diminution of editorial independence due to the weakness, also partially due to the economic weakness of the media and the journalists in specific. Also, something worrisome to signal is the digital safety of journalists is still a serious problem, and we have an increase in the risks that we've seen in the countries. And also protection against hate speech is an indicator that we are studying, has been increasing the risk there. And this is probably the consequence of the fact that regulation that were taught against hate speech for the offline world is difficult to translate in an online world that, at least for the moment, has not been adapted in an effective way. And then there is the well-known issue of online disinformation, on which there are several countries that are in the high-risk area, and 15 of the countries out of the 32 that we examine, and only 2 are in the low risk evaluation. So this information is still a major issue across Europe. So this is somehow the list of issues that we discussed that are a result of the Media Pluralism Monitor. And in the afternoon, we started the discussion about the crisis of the media because of the market power and the loss of resources, mainly due to the digital disruption, with all the positive things that this brings, however, brings also a serious crisis for the media. And then this discussion went to go toward what are our wish list, what we hope that the European Media Freedom Act could help in solving some of these problems, but the problems of the NPM, the risk for pluralism that the NPM has shown, and also some of the problems of the equilibrium and the future of pluralism in the European countries. This is a short summary of our discussion up to now, but I think that Věra Jourová is in the position to tell us much more about what we should really expect from the future at this point from the European Commission and the development of the legislative process. Věra, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Parku. I'm glad to be back with you and to have a possibility to discuss the current situation, to discuss the outcomes from your work, especially the fresh data, which in fact, if I understand well, show the trend, but also to consult with you the possible solutions. Because yeah, when I am listening to the analysis, I have a really temptation to continue the analyzing and interpreting, but it's not my job. I should come with the solutions and with the legislative and non-legislative measures which should decrease the level of risks and stop or slow down the negative trend. So I would like to inform you about this, what the Commission is doing and what is the perspective of having the solutions soon. First of all, I want to thank you for the new data which feed into our rule of law report, which we will publish next week. For the first time, we will issue the recommendation, and there will be numerous recommendations from the media chapter. Just as a reminder, we have 4 chapters in this rule of law report using the same methodology every year, covering all the 27 member states. And the 4 chapters are justice system, anti-corruption system, media, and checks and balances. And we are not collecting our own data. As you know, we are fully relying on the data which you deliver to us. And I wanted to thank you very much for that, because this is one of the steadiest and most stable pillars I have in my work on this rule of law report. This is annual exercise, and we have almost all the member states happy about the methodology. Not all the member states are happy about the results and our assessment, but that's life. And we are, of course, covering very difficult, serious topics, including the situation of media in concrete member states. On the basis of your warnings, on the basis of your data and your interpretation, we did 2 things. First of all, we want to decrease the appearance and use of slaps against the journalists. We adopted the anti-slap legislation for cross-border cases, and we also recommended the member states to take measures for domestic situation. I would like to see soon some result. I will check the willingness of member states to move on the basis of that recommendation, because our recommendation is already fully applicable. But of course, its strengths, but its weakness is that it's not a legally binding set of rules. It's really what the name says. It's the recommendation. For the legislation, we will have to go through maybe a rather difficult legislative process. because what I hear from at least half member states, either they do not have the cases, which I proved wrong, because the ministers maybe were not informed. And the second, that it's problematic proposal because it will decrease the right of access to justice. And again, I will have to explain that this is not our goal, and that the proposal is balanced. The second thing we did, and it stemmed directly from your data, we issued the recommendation to member states to pay more attention to guaranteeing security for journalists. And as if you read our recommendation, it's a list of very practical measures. I was 2 days ago listening to some discussions about the murder of Jan Kuciak in Slovakia, and what was happening before, a number of threats and scandalous non-action, no reaction from the state authorities, and all that led to the murder of this young, very talented and courageous journalist. So the recommendation seeks to be taken seriously by the member states. I am monitoring what they are doing. I am discussing with concrete ministers. Yesterday I came, or 2 days ago, I came from Romania, where I spoke to the Minister of Home Affairs, and I am doing so in many other places. And we know which are the states where the work of journalists is extremely difficult for both reasons, for SLAP and for the violent reactions. So we know who to speak to. We are working on, so these are the initiatives which are out. Of course, I would like to see the result in reality. So we do not still have any visible impact of that. We might see soon visible impact of the Code of Practice against disinformation, where we want to have journalists more engaged as fact checkers, as paid, I hope well-paid fact checkers by the platforms, because they cannot do the fact checking on their own. And here we might see the impact of the Code of Practice in, let's say, 6 months' time, when we will see the first reporting and reports from the side of the platforms. We are working in full speed now on Media Freedom Act. We will have the adoption date sometimes at the beginning of September. Now we are looking very carefully into all the contributions to our public consultation. And also I wanted to thank you for your very constructive input and for your support. And I understand why it was not done before, because when I announced that we need to have stronger protection of media in the EU, it raised a lot of reactions, including those which say that the EU has no legal basis and no competence to legislate in the field of media, that there is no common media market, that there is only the national media market, which stems from national traditions and national media history, which I disagree, because I think that we are especially now entering the phase of no borders Europe in media sphere, especially with the development of digital media. But it's not easy, because it's pioneering work. We are entering into unknown territory. That's why such a wide consultation process. Now over July, I will be consulting with concrete bodies, and I am really doing everything to have all the inputs in place to do the law right. And the law will be very broad. We will cover the public media and private media. I already said this morning in the parliament that we will address the issue which you referred to, and which will also appear in the rule of law reports of many member states, that we have the problem with the lack of transparency of ownership of media, and lack of transparency of financing from public budgets. conflicts of interest, that these are things which we want to address by this Media Freedom Act. And I always have assurance for those who fear that we will start prescribing concrete models, especially the governance models for the media in concrete member states. This is not what we plan. Rather, we want to set some standards and principles and safeguards so that we have some benchmark of, let's say, for the definition of healthy media landscape, and we will have the tool in hand to assess the situation, and in case of very varying trend, some very negative decisions from, especially I have to say, from the states, the Media Freedom Act will enable us to launch procedure which might serve as a corrective measure. At this moment, we are helpless, and when I am receiving questions, what will I do in the states which you have on your map with dark red color? I have to say, well, we are not equipped to protect the media in the member states because we do not have any stronger protection than other sectors, productive sectors on our single market. I believe that also for the media might be a beneficial thing, the Digital Services Act and the Digital Markets Act, which tries to somehow balance the division of powers and coverage. And I think that it was high time that we started to legislate also in this digital direction. We might have a chapter on digital media also in the Media Freedom Act. So this was just a general overview. I tried to mix up the optimism, which stems especially from the fact that I have really good trustworthy data I can work with, that it's not the moving in the dark house without understanding the topic. But of course, some kind of frustration that it takes time and that we do not see still very concrete positive impact of what we are doing. So thank you very much. I will stop here, and I understand that I should be available for questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the fact that you say that our data and our research is useful, and that's very nice and supportive for the group of local, for our team here in Florence, but also for all the groups that we have in all the countries doing the research that are here connected or in presence here. So thank you for all. And also, thanks for the effort that you are making in this. That is a difficult endeavor. Commissioner, Vice President is open to questions, so the floor is open both online and here.
I think there was a question from the previous round when the Vice President was not with us yet.
Thank you, Vice President, for this inspiring speech. My name is Josef Seehaler from the Austrian Media Pluralism Monitor team. A few months ago, the results of the Media Pluralism Monitor 2021 have led to a civil society initiative in Austria, which is heavily supported by the biggest journalist organization in our country. And it aims to amend the PSM law in Austria, particularly the composition of the management board, which now depends heavily on government influences. from my point of view, there is a certain window of opportunity we should use, and we are all waiting for the Media Freedom Act to regulate the appointment procedures to boards of the public service broadcasters, at least to recommend some political independence of these procedures. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Many best regards to Austria. I think that the expectations are quite right ones, because indeed I cannot tell you if we will address the specific situation in Austria by the Media Freedom Act, but we definitely want to achieve or create longer distance between politics and media, and especially public media, but not only. And it means that for public media, we are focusing on two things: to minimize or eliminate the fragility and uncertainty of financing. So we want to see stable system, and we are not prescribing whether it should be but from the national budget or from the fees from the citizens, but stability given in the law or guaranteed by the law. That's one thing. The other thing is stability or certainty for the management of the media. In other words, it should not be that easy, if at all possible, to dismiss the general director of the public TV in case politicians are not satisfied with the news in that public TV are saying. Yeah? So we want to also, here comes my idea to make the distance as long as possible, and to come with the rules which will stabilize more the position of the management, and the supervisory board, which you probably asked about, should be also appointed through a very transparent process where the impact or the influence of the elected political sphere should be minimized. Not zero. I think that we, and again, we will not prescribe the proportions, but we will come with the standards which should be in place when it comes to these oversight bodies. And one thing I have to mention, we have states where the system of functioning of media, of political approach, of oversight bodies, independence, we have states where all that works well, is well established, stems from some more historical tradition, something which is very stable. And we have states where we have all that, also stable, well-established system, but from some states we hear we will have better sleeping if there will be some European law which will set the standards and which will enable Europe to take action in case things go in a wrong direction. And I will maybe tell you that I heard this from France, because in France the system is well stabilized. The protection of media is on a very high level. The rules for balanced and trustworthy content, everything in place. But at the same time, of course, there is some kind of apprehension or feeling that the political sphere might change in the way and with the intensity that there might be some pressures on the media sphere. So these are the states where the system is okay, more or less okay, but where they appreciate that Europe is coming with the law, with the standards. And then there are states which system do not work well, where there are no strong safeguards to protect media's editorial independence and pluralism. And in some of them, we already see that the political sphere is abusing the situation of weak media and try to transfer them into the media which serve their political interests, which of course we do not want to see in any of the member states. And so from these states, we do not hear almost anything. They are waiting for what the Commission will come with. And my desire is not to decrease the standards anywhere. We have to praise and keep the well-functioning system where it is in the member states, but to increase the guarantees in the states where it is slow, and again come with the system which will enable us to act in case something goes considerably or visibly wrong.
We have a question online from Marco.
Yes, hello, Ms. Jourová. Marko Milosavljević here from Slovenia. We met at a couple of conferences. And I have a question about also as a follow-up to the issue of public service broadcasting. As you mentioned, that the state should sort of remove itself as far as possible from the appointment and work of the management. However, we do have a situation in a number of countries, particularly in Western Balkans and in Central Europe, where a current management of public service media has been appointed in a very untransparent or even an illegal or undemocratic way. And we do have an issue now. If a new government attempts to remove such a management that has been appointed, let's say, unleashed immorally, so to speak, how do they do that? In the sense that everything like that could be seen as an interference by the government in the work of the management of the public service media. We do have, this is not a hypothetical situation, we do have such a situation right now in Slovenia. We do have a new government. However, any attempt by them at the moment to sort of take care, so to speak, of the work of the public service media has been defined by the previous government, which you are very familiar with, and with the management that has been appointed by that government, as an interference in the independence of the public service media. So we would need to balance somehow the fact in the situation in countries where the system is working properly, and of course the possibility of these less democratic countries with such issues to sort of fulfill the democratic role of public service media, also with the democratic role of the state, simply in the sense of the state interfering, let's say, at the beginning of such procedure. And then, of course, it should be removed as far as possible. But otherwise, we will face a situation where this situation at public service media will continue for a couple of years. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marco. Well, these are the concrete cases and trends which made us think about legislation. Because what I can tell you, what regards present time, the national authorities have to comply and behave according to the national laws. And this is what we are also watching, whether the national laws are being respected. But legally speaking, it's not none of our business. Yeah? So when I see at this moment some issues in the media world, I can only send letters, ask for clarifications, Sometimes I am so frustrated that I even say that I have no other choice than bark through the Twitter, which is not very civilized way of communication, in my view. And we have only two ways how to address the possible problems in the national system and the similar problems which you described. Either to use the telecommunication rules, or the use to the rules for based on the freedom of entrepreneuring, because I told you the media have the same level of protection. Is it enough? I believe not. That's why we are now designing the Media Freedom Act, which, as you said, is or you didn't say it, but indicated that we take the inspiration from the states where it works well and where it is tested over decades of democratic development of the society. So we take these good examples, inspirative models, and we try to filter out the standards and principles which should be respected and maintained in all the member states, including Slovenia. So for the moment, of course, we are following what the new government is doing. There were issues under Mr. Janša's government, and as for the Media Freedom Act, if we manage to get it through the legislative process, we will see it functioning sometimes when 2025 maybe. It's my sober estimation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Besar Likmeta. I'm an editor for the Balkan Investigative Reporting Network and also a member of the Albania team for the NPM. My question relates to the progress reports. The NPM is an important instrument created based on European values and that are shared by media outlets and media policy of the European Commission. But we don't see much reflection of it when it comes to progress reports for countries who are candidates to join the European Union. Shouldn't the Commission put more value in terms of the information and the concerns raised by such instrument in the future, particularly in terms of the countries who want to become member states of the European Union?
Yes, we should. This is a very good point. We should pay more attention also to the media and the broader functioning of the democratic system and democratic institutions. You cannot find too much about it in the negotiating in the documents which we use in negotiations with the accession countries. How to put it? We are now focusing on cleaning up in European Union and putting things in order. But by doing that, we are also testing the methodology, how to assess also the media sphere. And this is a good exercise through the rule of law report. And I think that we will very soon discuss the possibility of unifying the methodology also for the accession countries and to cover maybe broader sphere than just judiciary, prosecution, anti-corruption, because these are the topics which we focus on in negotiation, in the accession negotiations. But it required a very short answer. Yes, yes. I am afraid I have to run away.
Sorry, you say you have to run?
Yeah,
No.
I have to be somewhere else in
Yes.
live discussion in 4 minutes, 10 minutes.
We have
Yes, no.
one last question.
Okay, okay, yes.
Okay, we have one last question from Renate Schröder online.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you very much for your very open approach and for always defending media freedom. I think we have you in the Commission, we feel that, but also for being honest and saying where the problems lie, and also for saying that you think there is a common market and there is an approach, but we have heard from the scrutiny board that it's very difficult with the legal basis, and you can imagine how very concerned we the European Federation of Journalists, but many other press freedom and civil society organizations are. So on the one hand, you explained the challenges regarding member states, but of course you also know that within our media sector, we have major problems with at least some of the publishers who refuse many of what's being addressed in the Media Freedom Act, including transparency. You just mentioned how important transparency is. I just want to reiterate, for trust and everything, transparency is crucial. And if they want a media exemption in the DSA, I think they have to deliver. So my question is, what can we do to support you in this very complicated work from now till September? Thank you.
I'm afraid the ball is now on my playground, because we have to do this right, as I said before, to design the law on the basis of practice, to address the real issues, the problems which appear in majority states. And by doing so, we are really heavily consulting now. I will be 3 weeks in Brussels over July, almost doing only this main task. And I have a long list of the bodies and entities and individuals who will be consulted. Also, the German publishers, of course, they came to me with a very strong message: do not regulate at all. So where we got over that, I had a very fruitful debate with them. I think it was almost 2 hours. If we regulate, how to regulate, and what should be the covered topics and issues. And I promised to such bodies which are very heavily engaged in that, and who also are nervous about that they will be consulted again on the basis of more precise text, because the text we were consulting in the standard public consultation, which finished at the end of March, indeed it was the text which did not correspond fully in details with the future draft of the law. So now we are approaching to having the first draft of the law, and I promise that I will consult the concrete wordings, the concrete texts, so that we play fair also with those who we consult, so that they know what our direction of thoughts is and what detailed text we are preparing. So I think that you mentioned trust. I think also now in the preparatory phase, we need to have trust, and that I have trust in the partners who I consult with, that they know the topic well and they wish to have strong protection of media in the EU. I never had any conflict in this basic idea. And I would like to have trust from the partners that I, with my team, really try to design the law on the real needs, not to destroy things which work, increase the standards, find the best model for enforcement and supervision. I think that this is obvious our main interest now. So if you can help me by giving me the reflection on the texts which we will consult over July, I will be very grateful.
Well, I think we have two free Vice President Jourová. Thank you very much. And you can count, as you know, from our support, if you need any form of technical support, we are here. We have already contributed to the consultation, but obviously any specific question, any that we may help, and I think also our network feels the same way. Your effort is very important, and we are fully supportive of it. Thank you.
Maybe thank you. If there are some questions which are really burning, something which will not let you fall asleep, if you do not get the answer, send it by email to Maria Freney, and she will reply back. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And have a good day. You are sitting in fantastic place. I was watching. So congratulations. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, we have good news. Before starting the roundtable, the final report and the country reports are online on CMPF website. So feel free to share. And congratulations, everybody, for that great job. I'm now asking for the email that Jourova mentioned for further questions. So I will share with you as soon as I have it.